all, and thank you for coming on such a cold night. When I look around, I remember it's been a long, long voyage to come to this point. I remember many years ago, before this building was renovated, that was another long time project. We were all in this room listening to Justice O'Connor. Do you remember that, some of you? You know, we've had some really important events at Karamah over the years. But I think the important thing about Karamah, which was started officially in 1993, is that very early on, we understood, before it became fashionable, what the whole issue is about in the Muslim community and the Muslim world, which is that we need reformation, we need renewal, and it has to come from the inside, and not from the outside. And it has to have integrity, it has to be honest for the people, especially the women around the world, the Muslim women, to believe in us and to work with us. In particular, coming from the American women's movement in the 60s, I'm dating myself, but that's no big surprise. That's how I know Letty and the others. It became very clear to me that Muslim women need to speak in their own voice. First, because they know the vision much better than anyone else. Second, because they would know the solutions better than anyone else from the outside. But thirdly, because you couldn't be liberated by having somebody speak on your behalf. Somebody who's an outsider, regardless of how much they mean it, how much they like you, and how much they want to help you. And therefore, Karamah was born and based on the foundation that it is by Muslim women warriors for Muslim women around the world to ensure human rights on the basis of reformation from within Islam itself. And that kind of formula in the 1990s was looked at as strange, because it was a lot more acceptable at that time to call for women's rights in the Muslim world on a secular basis. And many of you know that there were a lot of NGOs that went to the Muslim world with huge budgets, spent millions of dollars, achieved nothing, and came back, because that was not the right formula. Karamah, on its shoestrings, was able to achieve a lot more in terms of influencing the consciousness of many Muslim women and the dialogue among Muslim women, and also the dialogue among Muslim women and the rest of the world. We very much believe in interfaith dialogue. We've had in this very room, before it was renovated, several lectures on feminism and faith, and we've looked at different faiths. We continue to be very interested in dialogue, interfaith dialogue, especially with other women. We have a lot to do. We're interested also in issues of civil rights. Karamah played a big role after 2001, after 9/11, in calming the community, whether it is the American society at large or the Muslim community, whether it's in the DC area or in the Richmond area where we were originally incorporated. And many of you know that there were many services that Karamah rendered at that time, which were very important for everyone to calm down again and to normalize the life of the Muslims and those around them in society. So we are about human rights. Human rights is a very rich concept. We focus specifically on women's rights, Muslim women's rights. But we also understand that civil rights is part and parcel of what women's rights are about. And that women's rights are really people's rights. That there isn't really a hard line you could draw and say, this is what women are concerned about, and this is what women don't care about. For example, when I traveled many Muslim countries all over the world to talk about the issue of democracy, it wasn't because that was not an issue about women. It was particularly because that's an important issue for women. You couldn't have women's rights in a society which is based on authoritarianism or patriarchy, a society which is not truly democratic and egalitarian. And therefore, all these issues that in the past have been relegated to some other area are now being defined by Karamah as an important part of women's rights. Over the years, Karamah has been able to create a lot of achievements. I would like to say that the major achievement of ours is the creation of the Muslim Women jurists, lawyers, and leaders network. We have a network of about 400 women from all over North Africa and the Middle East. We have a bunch of them also waiting to be added to this list, coming from Indonesia, Malaysia, even China. We're being contacted by all sorts of women who are familiar with our website, who discover it and want to talk to us, and who are lawyers or jurists or leaders in their community. That network is a very important network for change. And we are now in discussions with an equally large network of women lawyers who would like also to join hands with us to form, hopefully, in the long run, an alliance of 1,000 Muslim women lawyers, jurists, and leaders. There is no other organization of that kind in the world. And once we get there, we will continue doing what we do. What we do best is to teach. Karamah is about education. Education of grassroots, education of leaders. Our Law and Leadership School, and I want to recognize the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania, which has partnered with us in these projects, and its professors have come down to Washington to educate women from the Law and Leadership program and really change their vision and their lives. But I will not speak on your behalf, ladies. You will be talking at one point. That program of ours has also created a whole generation of young Muslim women who are very capable of leading in their own communities. In Brussels alone, or I shouldn't say Brussels, I should say Belgium. In Belgium alone, we have graduated 24 Muslim women leaders who are Belgian, who understand what it is to speak about Islam in a way that is consistent between their beliefs and the Western society they're living in. They also understand what it is to be leaders. And they have just asked us to establish a Karamah EU branch in order to deal with the spread of very conservative interpretations of Islam that are isolating women from public life increasingly and spreading certain other convictions that also limit the freedoms of women. Now, we are not there to really rebut any point of view. We at Karamah believe in the proposal that we should let 1,000,000 flowers bloom, and that people themselves, women themselves, will decide what is most suitable for them. That's how the jurists of the old days in the Muslim society worked. They would go and sit in a corner of the mosque, and the imam who did not have any students stopped teaching. And the imam who had a lot of students had a school and a following. We would prove ourselves through the ideas we put forth. And we think there is a lot we could put forth, both in the MENA region and also in Europe, as well as in the United States. Although we've been around since 1993, we have been very fortunate that last year we received a substantial grant that will allow us to restructure, to be able to build our capacity so that we can grow and actually execute all our dreams and move forward in ways we weren't able to do before. Therefore, you will see, those of you who have been with us along the way, that we have expanded this year 900%, thanks to that grant. I should mention it is the Bill Gates and Melinda Gates grant. Of course, we are ambitious. We think we should grow even more. We're looking for more grants, and we have a very active team that is working very hard at that. I would like to also mention that we have played a role recently at the United Nations where our voice is being heard about documents that relate to Muslim women directly or indirectly and involve jurisprudence. Nobody else could comment on it. We are in a perfect position to provide that service. So Karamah is, despite the fact that it has been around since 1993, still expanding, still growing. It's like a new day again for us. And so we welcome you today. Just like this building has been renovated and reborn, Karamah this year is being renovated and reborn. And I want all of you to help us in this message of ours, to help us in this voyage that we are taking around the world. And together, I think, we will truly enjoy the fruits of success. Thank you.